Hi guys, welcome to the new video of this Linux tutorial series. So in the last video we discussed the multiple steps to use any partition. So let me give you a 1 minute quick overview. So first we have to create a partition, then we have to format that partition. We saw this in the last video. Then to access we have to mount that partition. But the issue in mounting mount command or not in the mount command, the OS is built in such a way that this mount is temporary. So we're gonna see in this video how we can permanently mount of any file system or any partition, you can say. Okay, so the file name which we use in this video is this FSTAB. So there are many columns that I'm gonna explain you one by one, but let's see this in demo how the temporary partition is gonna happen, how mount point, or you can say the partition is automatically unmounted after one boot. So let's see this. In the last video we saw that we are mounting which device is SDB1, okay, and this is already mounted on this new mount. If how we can see is here, you can see it's already mounted, okay, and if I reboot my system, you will see that it will automatically unmount. So till the time my system is getting mounted, let's discuss about the fields or the columns of ETC FSTAB file. So ETC FSTAB file have 6 columns, okay, and normally, as I know, how the tutorials on the Google or something like that, they will explain you the first 3 or 4 fields in very detail, but not the last 2 fields. So let's discuss that in the detail. First field is device. You can think device as a partition also, okay, because at the end partition is also like a part of hard disk and it's storing data. So device. The next column or field is mount point. This mount point is nothing but just equals to the folder on which we are mounting our device, okay. The third is the file system type. As I told you in the last video that there are multiple file system or the format types we can format our partition. We saw that ext3, 2, ext4, ntfs, vfat, xfs, multiple are there. So which this device is formatted by which file system type, is a ext4 or ntfs or vfat, that we have to mention. The fourth is options, okay. So options, normally we write defaults. Defaults mean mount the partition on a mount point or on a folder with default options, okay. But there are many options that I told you in the last video about when we are discussing the mount command. In the last video only we discussed the mount command. So mount command, we have an option -o and we can pass multiple options. So there are multiple options, and I show you one link or the manual also that what are the available options. So we can give defaults, like by default mount with your default options, but if you want to give multiple, we can give by comma separated, like this comma option 1 comma option 2, like this. The fifth field we have is backup operation. We want to do backup of that partition or not. Basically, in a backup operation, we can only give 2 values. The possibility of giving values only 2. Fifth field we are discussing, okay. So in the backup operation, either we can give 1 or 0. 0 means no backup I want of that partition, and the first means I want a backup, or there is a utility called dump utility. It will create a backup of that partition. But doing a backup by this utility or by giving value 1 is not a good practice. Why? It's outdated version basically. Now there are very new or very updated versions or tricks and tips to backup any partition. So we not recommended to use 1 here because it will do a backup by old utility. So normally we give 0. The last and the final field is 6th field, okay. This consists of you want to check file system or not, okay. Now what does it means is there is a file system checking, okay, we can do. So there are normally we have to give a numeric value. So there is a utility fsck. This utility will check a partition, okay. If we give 0, then this utility will not check the file system. And apart from 0, if we give any number, that number will be considered as in a priority, okay. Now what does it means is if you give 1, okay, 1 means like it will do a file system check, but first it will check check the file system, that is root file system. Normally I can explain in this way. Let's say there is a hard disk, 2 partitions are there. This is, let's say, root partition and this is another partition. So number 1, we have to always give to the partition that is root, I want to check first root partition, then 2, 3, 4. Let's say there are 6 partitions. I explained you how we can create a 6 partition including logical partitions. So 2 means then check another partition, 3 means another partition, 4 means another partition. Now where we can give number? Let's say I am mounting a root file system on some folder with some options. Okay. And what is the file system I given? Like fxx, defaults, 0. If I give 1, so first means this file system will be checked first. And this belongs to, let's say, hard disk SDB. Okay. You can give it SDB1 also. This is a root partition. SDB2, you have to give another number 2. That's how you can give a number in increasing order. That's considered as a priority. Now let's move again to the console and see that partition is still mounted or not. So it is not mounted for sure. Now how we can mount, and we can use FSTAB entry. Let's see that in action. Before that, I will show you one troubleshoot issue that is called a maintenance mode. What is maintenance mode? How we can resolve that maintenance mode also. So, but let me go to the first console and show that to you. So if I do df-ht, see, it's removed. Now if I go to the file called ETC FSTAB, this is the location of a file. So you have to do always an entry at the downside. Okay. So what I'm doing is I want to mount dev SDB1. Okay. Now where I want to mount, let me check the path. Which path I created, I forget. Do I have history? Okay. I am mounting this on new mount /new mount. Okay, let me copy this from here only. Don't make any kind of mistake in this file, else you will be in trouble. How we can take the precautions while be in trouble? So I will explain you that also. New mount. Now that is formatted with ext4. I want to mount it with defaults. Okay. And 0 and 0. I'm not checking file and I'm not doing any kind of backup operation, but I want to check the file system type again. So if I do mount -a and if I do df-ht, see, it's mounted automatically. So as I told you in the mount command video also, if you do mount -a and I showed you there, and I told you there I will show you the demo of this command once we are doing FSTAB file. It will go to the FSTAB entry and read every file system that's present there. If some file system or partition is not mounted on folder, this command will mount automatically. Now I want to show you by doing some mistake in that file. Let's say I am doing SDB11 and here I'm giving, let's say, 33, something like that. If I do now and write mount -a, so mount -a we can also use to check that everything is correct or not. See, this mount point doesn't exist. Even though if I reboot my system now, so this shows that there is some error in the FSTAB. That mount point doesn't exist. If I reboot my system now, the system will go into the maintenance mode that I don't want. Before I want to show you one more thing. Let me very quickly remove this and this also. And if I save and if I reboot my system to show you that now partition will automatically be mounted. But what is maintenance mode? Let's discuss, because if you are giving an exam, the RSCSA 8, you will face one question on this particular topic that you have to mount something. And if you like, wait, okay, let me open my paint again. It stopped working suddenly. So in the question you will face that you have to mount some partitions, okay? But if you've mounted in a wrong way, you will go into the maintenance mode. Now what does maintenance mode is? When the system is booted, the first file will be read is this FSTAB. If some entry is wrong, if OS is not able to mount one partition on another folder, it will take your system to maintenance mode. Now how to remove this issue is, either if you have done a spelling mistake and you figured it out like this is a spelling mistake, just into that mode only you can go and edit this FSTAB file. That is a one way. If not, just comment out that line, come to the OS again, check the details again, like maybe you are sure that I mounted ext4, but you wrote there ext4 only, but in the actual you done it with ext3. So that's, you will not able to figure out. So what you can do is you can comment that line, come to the OS again and check the details again by df-ht or something like that. So that will help you. Or